have a roll call, or I'll call us to order at 10 o'clock. Can I have a roll call, please?
Clifton.
Here.
Fitch. Here. Stansel.
Here.
All present. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So
Oh, you're a dead tie. I'm gonna give it to Diane, second to Heather. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Hey, Phil?
Yes.
Hey, Phil?
Yeah.
Just want to let you know that when we're on a conference bridge, what you hear is a delay. So
I
there's
know.
probably about
I
5 seconds.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have Jeff and Rick here, so I don't know which one you want to start first with.
I can go ahead and give an update. Midwest Caulk was in yesterday and power washed the ramp. I'm not sure when they're planning on starting the coating. I thought they would be in today, but I haven't seen them yet. Chip has the abaters here, abating the caulk around the doors. So while Midwest is here, we can get all the caulking done. Basement door, we have the door tore out. We got temp wall installed. We're chipping out the concrete now, getting it ready so that we can build up that concrete. So it'll taper, have a 1-inch taper out. So hopefully we won't have that water problem anymore. We're working on that this week. We plan on trying to get concrete poured back in, maybe getting it set this week, but that's the goal, to try to get there. Landscaper's gonna be in this week to plant the rest of them shrubs. We've been decided to put them on each side of the ramp and to install that magnolia tree.
Okay.
Not sure what day they are, but they said they'd be here this week and get it done this week. The roofers said that they were supposed to be here this week finishing the downspouts. And I've talked to the painter about painting them once we get them installed. Courtroom windows, we started opening them up today. Talked with Chip yesterday, the blinds are being installed, so we'll have 2 or 3 days of working on trimming them out. And there again, I talked to the painter about getting them stained and varnished. And then that way we can get our blinds put on before we close the wall back up. The handrail power, the handrail guys were supposed to be here last week, and the way I understand, they got tied up and won't be here till next week. But they UPS the power boxes, so we should see them. It was second day, we should be today. I'm not sure where they sent them, if they sent them to our office or sending them so they might show up at the courthouse, Chip. So.
Are you gonna have to swap out those converter boxes then, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The old ones are gonna go back and the new one's gonna be installed so we can get the lighting on the handrails. I think that's what we got. I don't think I missed anything. That's what we got going on.
Jeff, do you know what the ETA is on any of the door hardware?
I don't. I sent a message to Mitch. He just sent me a message here about an hour ago that he's got a migraine. I talked to him in his office last week, and he thought that they were only a couple weeks out. But I wanted to verify that with him, and I haven't heard back from him, so I was hoping he would be here so we would know. So hopefully we get this other stuff wrapped up. Maybe we'll be able to roll right into that. Would be
Did
great.
you tell me the new wood doors could be hung as soon as the hinges are here, right?
As soon as the hinges
And the
are
hinges will
here.
be coming with all the other door hardware? So-
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I say something about that wood door they made?
Yeah.
There's a knot in that door. Are they gonna, why would you do a big door with a knot in the wood? I wouldn't have used that piece of wood.
I agree with that. I have an issue with that as well.
Some of us like knots in wood, and I think they had character, but that's my opinion.
I think it.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think it has character, but only if it's allowed to look like it adds character. Right now, it looks like something was damaged and it was filled in with wood filler and it doesn't even look the same color. It's very noticeable and quite large, to be honest with you. We shouldn't be using wood filler for something that deep and that large.
Jeff, you wanna take a look at that with Mitch?
Yeah, I don't know that if you're gonna find a piece of white oak that big that don't have knobs in it, but we can, I have seen it, I know what you're talking about, but
Well, the other parts of the door look fine, so I didn't see anything like that, and I looked at both sides of the doors. There were small little ones. I think there was one small one I saw, but that was negligible. But the other pieces were very quite nice, so they were able to find it just fine on the other pieces, and that just, I mean, it looks like a repair was done. So that's my concern, so I share Diane's concern with that.
yeah, well, sometimes when they send a bundle of wood out and, you know, you use the best pieces you can get out of that, and then, apparently they had to, I didn't make the door, so I couldn't tell you how that came to play, but, I would just figure they
Could you
picked.
find out, please? Could you find out, please? Because if that was, I'm just telling you now, that would not have been acceptable at the Capitol building. They would have sent the wood back. So we need to have the same standards here. So if you could find out, that would be great.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. I wanna maybe run through a list here that I've got, and we can check on that. That was one of mine as well. I do not have your report yet on the eaves. I've got some things that are happening in my world that are extremely busy right now, and there's two other jobs that are closing out as well. So I'm hopeful to have that in 2 weeks or before then, and I will send it on so that you can review it ahead of time. Parallel
What's
to,
that for?
The dental stuff.
Report.
yeah, the reports and
Oh, that's
response,
For Heather?
yeah. So I still owe you that. I also just realized that I did not go back and take another look at that AC question for you for the drip issues, so I still owe you that as well. I can tell you there's a little bit of progress on a couple things. Mitch was able to get me in contact with a different person at Doors Inc. so that we have somebody else who's working on this credit for the hardware. When I have some more information on that, I will be able to come back to you, but I do not have that yet. So please stay tuned on that. Mitch and I also had a meeting yesterday with Foreshore Roofing. They appear to be cooperating in terms of how they want to try to correct some of the things that we have seen that are in Heather's photographs, and they're working on a method for how they would approach getting to the building and doing some of that. Their first inclination was to do some things by lift. As you might imagine, that's not something that's on the top of my list. So I've asked them to go back and look at that. In the end, I'd like to make sure that everything obviously gets put back in its current condition. I'm not really a fan of coming through any of the concrete that's already been replaced. So I'd asked them potentially to come and join us on the 31st, if you're having a meeting on the 31st.
We sure can.
And present. I don't know whether anything's scheduled yet. If it's a first or
It would be the
maybe
fifth,
even
it'd be the fifth Tuesday, right?
the 5th. Yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, I can.
Should we meet next week? Because
No.
we have to
Can't meet
sign off
next week.
substantial completion, right?
I'm not able to meet next week, Heather.
We can meet on the 31st.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will work to hold that, and if there's a challenge there for some reason, I will let you know ahead of time. But if you could, before we send an agenda out, let's make sure that we connect and make sure we've got a meeting that makes some sense to have. I will be working to get the remaining punch list done so that we can formally do a substantial completion for you, Jeff. I have that in flight, but I don't have any of that finalized for you yet. I am not certain, but I will check. I'd like the landscape architect to make sure he's done his final punch. I know that we made modifications to the landscape plan, which is all good, and I'm hearing you're all satisfied with what's been put in. I thought the magnolia had already been replaced. That's not the case, right?
No,
Okay, all right.
they were gonna do it this week with the shrubs.
Okay, and if you want to send, when it arrives, if you want to send a photograph of that on to Brett to make sure that it meets specifications, we can maybe save some time there, okay? So I will reach out to him. You talked about livers and the handrails. We talked about the AC on the door. I don't think I have anything else unless I've missed something that I received as a question perhaps.
I do for Rick.
Okay.
The drains in, I call them the dinosaur teeth out by the pavers. The drains in the dinosaur teeth I thought were fine. It said they have made that level. Well, that one architect, that one landscaper, he's not gonna go for that. Why did they do that?
Why did we do
They were kind
what?
of perfectly safe.
They filled those drains in.
It said that
They covered them with mulch, right? Yeah.
They covered them.
That's what the landscaper said that they would do when I talked to her, and, because the water would just filter through the mulch then.
So Heather asked this question to me in an email, and I responded to her, so.
Well, he had it shaped, that Brandy had it shaped really nicely, which I thought would have drained well, but I don't understand making it level.
It's
fixing
just-
it and putting the mulching around it.
It's just mulch, the dirt's still sloped,
Yes,
correct?
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
correct.
The dirt slopes down to the drain, it's just covered with mulch, which is, the water will flow right through.
Oh, okay.
Is there a screen or anything
Our
over the
roads are
drains?
sloped.
My concern with that was that the mulch would eventually clog the drain.
It won't, I don't think it will.
Rick has something to say, ladies.
It's good to look upon it.
Rick has something for clarification, I believe.
So first, the drains do have a tighter grate on them than typical. I suggest we see if they're performing well or if that's okay. I think that'll be fine based on what I've seen. I don't know exactly how the landscaper did it, but sometimes the landscapers will actually put a filter fabric over top of the grating, and then the mulch goes on top of that. It just needs to be pervious, so if we're concerned about any of that, there can be a filter fabric laid over top of the grain and then over top of the drain, and then the mulch can be leveled out as it should be now. It just, I think it looks a nicer appearance, and it is not going to affect the performance. So that's, I think, what I wrote in my email to
It's not a trip hazard.
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I've been
Yeah,
watering
that'll
it,
work for me.
and they were draining properly like they should. I've been watering quite a bit here for the last, since they done it for the last couple of weeks, so it's draining properly now.
Now, the electrical box on the east side is a concern, and Chip said that Baker, the city said Bakers are going to have to put an extension on that because they did it. I think that's a trip hazard. Because you walk off the sidewalk and it's so low. Have we attended to that?
Pointed out to Mitch, Mitch was gonna check on that. I don't know, there again, that's one of the, I was leaving for Mitch and he's not here, but I will question him, try to get you an answer.
Yeah, I think Bakers need to get that more level because that doesn't seem real safe.
Yeah, I looked back at the prints and I think when they installed that, I don't think there was an elevation for that box. So they put it where it was. And then when we brought the
Yeah.
sidewalks up to where they needed to be to get proper, to be legal in height and have the like pitch to them, we wound up higher than what they had. And they just installed it at the height that they had at that time. I didn't see anything in their prints that had an elevation for them to set it at, so.
I know it's level now.
But-
Is it okay to set that unlevel? Because the ground's not level, right?
Right.
So if you leave it level, it's either gonna be a little bit higher and a little bit low, or?
Yeah, it'll probably be high on the east side, the lower side, it'll probably be high, yeah, but it'd be up to, so,
Is
yeah,
there a way to mitigate the trip hazard?
I don't really think
Put our
so.
heads together on that?
Oh, Mitch is working with Baker on that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that close to the sidewalk, if it was further away from the sidewalk, it, wouldn't be an issue, but it's wound up right next to the concrete, so. only like 6 inches
Yeah,
off,
that's
so.
not, if it were further out, I think it would be fine, but
Right,
if it just happened to step off that sidewalk, you might tumble, yeah.
right.
Well, if you're working on it, that's good.
Did you have anything else, Diane?
I think they talked about the window shades, or the blinds, they're getting that window done so we can put the blinds up. And the knot in the doors, no, he's already touched on everything, so I think I'm good.
Okay, so I have a couple things that I wanted to discuss. The first thing is, you guys talked about the radar and the lighting. Do we have any resolution on the cosmetic issues yet?
They're gonna be out next week. They were supposed to be out this week, and they didn't have the proper, whatever the coating or whatever it was for the coating. I don't have the email, I'm sorry, but so they're gonna be out first part of next week to look at it and touch them up.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Let's see. The other thing regarding the landscaping, so I know that we had, last week, I believe they had sent landscaping back, and then, so are we taking it now and just planting it elsewhere? Is that what the decision was?
Yeah.
Yes. Rick
Okay,
called,
so-
we have all those extra boxwoods that we could not get credit for. And so
Okay.
we suggested planting them, and I think it would be beautiful on Rick's suggestion. So I said, if it's okay with you, I think that would be great.
Okay.
We can't,
And then,
so we thought to use them, yeah.
okay, okay, so then, now, the other thing is the sod. Now, it may have improved since, I haven't seen it since last Friday, but the sod looks like parts of it was dying. And I know we, especially around the trees, you know, where it looks like the water didn't reach from the sprinkler, from the manual sprinklers. And
It looks really good it looks really good right now, with the exception of near the sidewalks.
Okay.
And Chance Dillard's group was in last week and did some dirt work and some seeding there, so I think we're in pretty good shape. My opinion. Chip, do you have any different opinion than that? No, it looks pretty good.
Skip sent me, Skip sent me pictures. I thought it looked pretty beautiful. And he said people were very careful not to walk on the grass during the festival.
They were, yeah, that's true, they were.
Yeah.
Okay,
Stay
so,
off our little worm sign.
yeah, I was there on Saturday, and it just, in some parts looked like it was not, they were still struggling to get a little green. So maybe this week will look better after our rain, I don't know. But, and there seemed to be a misunderstanding of the term of responsibility. I thought it was, you guys had 30 days and then we take over after that, but then apparently someone thought it was only 2 weeks. Can I get confirmation on that? Is it 30 days up now, or was it 2 weeks, or what's the story on that?
It's 30 days, and the north and the west side are up, and the east and south side are still on us for another week, I believe. So,
Okay,
but as cool as it is, and the rain that we haven't been watering it that much because basically don't need it. It's pretty
Looks really
green.
good.
It's probably the greenest grass in town right
I would
now.
say so.
okay.
I think with the overseeding that Sands is doing, and I really like frost seeding, I don't know why when you have a little bit of snow in February, you couldn't do some frost seeding. That works really well too. I don't know about the architect thinks, but frost seeding is pretty successful.
This
Okay.
is somewhat related to all that. I know the Optimist Club and Lions Club with the flags that they put out in the patriotic holidays, they don't plan to put them up for Veterans Day, other than maybe a few receptacles that are still locatable, but then put all new ones in for Memorial Day next spring. So they'll be staying off of that for the rest of the fall.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then, to that, so the external sidewalk, I just want to get clarification. I know some of the stuff was done by Bright Homes and the rest was done by our contractor.
Mhm.
During this past week, it looked like our contractor was doing it all. Is that, but I'm
Well,
not quite sure.
the only thing Brighthouse did was the 4 entrances,
Mhm.
is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Everything else was on us with Lincoln.
Everything was on the
Okay.
LinkedIn, yeah.
okay. All right, and then regarding the pavers, now, what kind of stand do we use for that? Because it looks like I saw when I left on Friday, and then when I was there on Saturday, it looked like there was some black peeping through. Did we end up using asphalt for some of them?
No,
No, not that I know.
no, it's a bedding sand, it's a black bedding sand that fills the cracks.
Okay. Okay. And then.
Yeah.
Yep,
Will that black sand, won't that black sand, settle itself so it won't leak off pretty soon?
yeah, it's actually got like a, it sets up, it actually like gets harder. It's got a,
Like a grout?
yeah,
Okay, and then my other question is Steve. I went around the courthouse the last few weeks and I looked at the inside window trim and I saw several issues. Is that not punched yet?
The final punch has not been done, Heather. But
Okay.
I will tell you, there's very few issues, so if you have some particular issues that you want to bring to my attention, you can do so, but there may be some things that I've accepted.
Okay, so some of the issues, and I have taken pictures, the only office I was not able to get to before I left was the auditor's office. But some of the issues I saw were, lots of nail holes, filler that didn't match, sanding, it looked like there was sanding done that took off the finish. Some of the trim pieces were rough, like they weren't sanded at all. And mismatched pieces, obviously corners that looked split. I saw several pieces of wood that were split or splitting. So I don't know if they were placed that way or they for some reason, they're splitting after the fact. I'd be happy to send you pictures, some of the samples on that from each office. But those are concerning to me. So I didn't know if you had final punched it yet and these were issues you were aware of or what.
Yeah, no, we have not done final punch. There are still some things on the punch. But if you have specific locations you want me to look at, I would be glad to do that. I need you to tell me where those are when you send if you're gonna send a photograph.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll
All right.
do that. When do you think, I'll try to do that while I'm here. It might be a little bit of a challenge, but I'll try to do that. Okay, so the other thing is, the question I have is, our county attorney is working on the contract for the concrete warranty. So my question for you is, regarding substantial completion, it was my understanding that we have to do that with the exception, in order to make sure we get that grant. Will this warranty be an exception to that? Because my concern is, once we sign off on substantial completion, then the time clock starts for warranty. Is that correct?
Yes, it does, and it will be listed as an exception until we have it.
Okay, so then we need to make sure that that time clock for the warranty starts when the 7 years starts, when we sign the contract warranty, not when substantial completion is done.
Do you know
Correct.
when we
I
will
think
have,
you said, no,
when will we have the warranty? It's in
I'm sorry.
your attorney's hands, right?
Right, we just approved because she's getting some outside counsel that have more expertise in construction. So we just approved that, I believe, last
A
week.
week ago.
And she's working with them now. Yes. Yeah,
Hopefully by the 31st,
So-
we'll have some clarity on that as
Okay.
well.
right. So I just want to know when the warranty clock started to make sure we have a consensus on that clock does not start until that contract, because we're going to be accepting this from the substantial completion. Yes.
Well, we can do that as an attachment, like an addendum to it, so.
But I just want to make sure we're all on the
Yeah.
same page with that. And then for substantial completion, I got from Shelley, the breakdown, the outstanding amounts owed to Brighthold, it's just shy of 200,000. So when we do substantial completion, is the assumption that that amount will not be dispersed until full completion, or does that go out at substantial completion?
It's the retainage, and I'm assuming that's not released until.
The retain, if there are outstanding items, the value of those outstanding items is doubled, and that is the remaining retainage that needs to be held until there's resolution.
Yeah, okay, all right, so that's my understanding. And do we, will we have numbers for those, so we know exactly what's being held back, and I let
Yes.
everyone on the same page?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, those are all my questions for today.
All right. Chip, you have anything? All right. Hearing nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You guys are right on top of each other. We're gonna give that one to Heather and the second to Diane. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, we are adjourned. You ladies take care of yourselves and your charges.